see what's going on here. Oh yeah, look at all the friggin' room there is now. I can stick my whole hand in there now. I think that's gonna work out. From the center hole is 2.5 inches, and the center hole on this one is 2 3/4 inches. So this one is 1/4 inch taller. I should have used these to begin with, and if you're gonna use the truck pan, that's what you need. You need the taller ones. That's no good. The tie rod that goes from the center link out to the spindle, it's contacting the bottom of the oil pan a little bit, but I think it's not just a grease fitting. I think it's just overall close. This idler has 2 bolts and it's adjustable, and I lowered it down all the way, and I thought we were good to go, but it seems like when it's jacked up, and that grease fitting points on a different angle when it's jacked up, it seems like I need more clearance. From here you can see a little spot on the oil pan where it's made contact a couple times, and I don't want that. That's no good. So I'm gonna try something. So the center link is not straight across. It comes down a little bit, and it also pulls back a little bit towards the subframe. I had an idea. I'm going to try something where instead of in towards the subframe, what if it went out this way, away from the oil pan? I'm going to try it. So I've already removed all the nuts off of these links. We got a pickle fork here. Alright. I don't recommend smashing on the end of the threads like that, because you can mess up the threads. There's one down. They really seem to be in there. There's 2. Now the center link, it just goes between the steering box and this idler arm here. There's 1. And this will be the last one. After this it might fall down. Wow, there's a lot of grease on these joints. Greasy. Hey, there she is. Oh, she just fell down right in my hands. Curves down, and it curves back towards the subframe. But what if I turn it around 180 degrees and point it out away from the oil pan? This part doesn't contact the oil pan, it's the link here, the tie rod. So when I turn it around, the tie rod will be out here because they're tapered. So let's see what happens. Ball joints fit, so that's a good sign. Everything seems symmetrical. So far so good. These are going to have to be turned, and then maybe I can just mock it up and try it out and just put the nuts on finger tight or something for now. But so far, so good. Okay, I got this. Got the center link turned around 180 degrees, so it still dips down, but it sticks out a little bit further. So I'm gonna have to tighten these joints, otherwise I won't be able to test it properly. And since they're locking nuts, the joint might spin and the ball joint it might, so I might have to push it in or tap it in with a hammer so it doesn't spin. I'm going to try to tighten them up anyway. Might not have to tighten them up completely, but just for a test to see if they're going to work or not, or see if there's going to be any issues anywhere. I think that one's starting to spin. Whoever worked on this car last should be fired. Not just me, but the guy before me too. Both of these sleeves on both sides were loose. Like, see this? I can spin this this bolt for the sleeve. I can just spin it around. It has to be loose for you to rotate them, because I had to rotate them. But this one was already loose, and both on the passenger side were already loose. And that's not good. And there was something else too. Oh, all the lock nuts were upside down. They're a compression nut, and every single one was upside down. That one there, I tapped it in with a hammer and it seemed to, they're all tapered joints and they'll just spin around in circles unless they're seated good into that taper. Sometimes you can hammer them into the taper. Just don't smash the grease fitting or anything like that. This is working, I think. Tapping it into the taper. It's not dropping out and it's not spinning in circles. I can feel it with my finger, the stud. I've got a good feeling about this. Uh-oh, that one's spinning. I brought backup. This is my backup right here. There we go. Now we're talking. That looks a lot better though already. Around the oil pan. Probably gonna have to do an alignment after this. Everything here is pretty greasy, but I think the joints are good. But if it needs something, then it'll get replaced, or it'll get new components if it needs it. Let's test and see if this used to contact the oil pan. So I'm gonna test it both ways and see if it still does or not. I'll go this way because this is the way that was problematic before. See what's going on here. Oh yeah, look at all the friggin' room there is now. I can stick my whole hand in there now. That's way better. What else is going on? I think that's full lock, so I'm getting, there's lock stoppers on the, behind the spindle. So I think that's full lock right there. Everything looks okay. But the factory setup was making contact with the oil pan, and the Mr. John 613 setup has lots of room. Let's try the other side. Oh yeah, lots of room, no problems, no rubbing. Yep, we're getting full lock, which is good. She's touching the stoppers. Some people modify their steering angle to get more, and I think on these cars all you have to do is shave down the stopper a little bit and you can get a little bit more. It used to touch the oil pans somewhere at the front there, but it's not even an issue anymore. This is the driver's side, and that right there is the stopper. So when you get full lock, you make contact on the end of that thing right there. This is just factory angle because it's hitting the stopper on the other side, and everything looks good. We got new sway bar links, painted the calipers. These are small block Chevy clamshell mounts, 2 3/4. Oh, there's a number here, isn't that handy? 1403785. These here are the same thing. They're small block Chevy clamshells, but I measured them and they're not 2 3/4, they're 2.5. So I just put spacers on that side because I heard that side had to be taller. So when I test fit it previously, I think maybe the transmission was hanging down a bit because there's like a teeter-totter effect on the engine mounts, so maybe the transmission was hanging down and this might have been okay at the time, but right now it doesn't seem to be okay. It seems to be pretty much sitting on there. You really got to beware because there's so many different sizes of these things. I've seen like 2 3/8, I've seen 2.5, I've seen 2 3/4, I've even seen 3-inch. And same with the lower half. If you use the truck mounts, the lower half is like a 1/4 inch taller or an 1/8 inch taller or something. So if you use the truck oil pan, you need the truck mounts. Okay, this is the engine mount off of the 5.3. This one is 2.5. From the center hole is 2.5 inches. And the center hole on this one is 2 3/4 inches. So this one is 1/4 inch taller. I got the engine jacked up and I managed to get that one out with a ratchet wrench. See if I can get this one in. Well, I struggled with it, but I finally got her on there. Well, she's starting to rain on me, but I got the clamshell in. It took me a minute to line it up and drop it down in place, and we've got lots of room now, way more than before. So I couldn't even get a zip tie under there before. I can almost get a wrench under there now. Oh, I can. There you go. Well, I went and got a new relay for the headlight. Okay, so I raised the engine up a 1/4 inch on one side I actually changed the mount to a bigger mount, and now my hood doesn't latch like the way it used to. It used to latch without contacting the engine. The underside of the hood there. I'm going to remove a couple sections again from that piece with the angle grinder.